Oh, hi folks, hope you're well. Saturday, there we go. Bloody windy today, that's all I can say. God, look at my hair. Oh, for such a Nancy. Well, anyway, what to say in this video? There's a great saying, isn't there? I think if you know Latin, which I don't know much of anymore, um, it's the fluoride, you know. Um, but it's sorry, I've been in the garden doing the bloody bird table, and I'm sick and tired of squirrels wrecking my bird table. But I haven't got the heart to shoot them. The great saying in the old days, called in Latin, was "Carpe diem," seize the day. And as you get older, I suppose it's more and more important you do seize the day. And I find as I get older, I tend to be waking up earlier in the morning without an alarm clock, which is a bit of a pisser, really. And because it's really ironic. And I used to think, well, when I was a kid, my mum and dad used to force me to go to bed when I was wide awake and force me to get up when I was fast asleep. Nothing new there. But now I haven't got any parents to wake me up and things like that. I find myself waking up before the alarm goes off. Have you ever done that? You think, oh, well, I'll set the alarm 7 a.m. and you end up waking up at 6 o'clock and 6:15, particularly in the summer when it's light outside. I've actually having to resort now to putting these wax earplugs in my ear holes, and I found out quite miraculously, because my wife does it, that since I've been doing that, I mentioned the other day in a video, God, I'm sleeping so much better now, because ambient noise is very important. But in our house, you can hear a mosquito 50 yards. It's deadly silent at night. Get owls and things and foxes. And one of the most disturbing sounds you get with the window wide open in summer where I live is the sound of rabbits being killed, because you can hear the foxes, and there are plenty, and badgers that go and kill such things and kill the baby rabbits and hares, and it's a horrible noise. And you think, oh no, because at 2 o'clock in the morning you hear the squealing. It can only mean one thing. It's a horrible thing. And it just reminds me really of people who go killing animals for sport, and I find that an absolute disgusting practice. Why anybody would want to go fox hunting? I'm a big fox hunt saboteur if I found the time or the energy nowadays, but if I was younger I would be heavily into that. It just pisses me off that people haven't got anything better to do on a nice day than get on a horse with their stupid friends and children, youngsters as well. Oh, Daddy, it's my first fox hunt. Do you think we'll get a fox, Daddy? Oh, Daddy, if we kill a fox, we get that. If we get a fox. No, you mean if the dogs corner one and rip it apart, you mean? Oh, yes, well, I'll be able to get blooded. Yes, we'll blood you, Jemima, and you'll be... what a mentality of parents wanting to engender that into their children. It's okay to have a pack of dogs rip a fox apart. It's enough foxes get killed and euthanized in our roads today on a daily basis. I can drive to town, which will take me half an hour into the city, and I can take the back roads, and I can count probably 5 or 6 foxes that have been killed. And do that by the day. So 6, 7, 6 is 42. So 42 foxes a week. That's 160 odd, 168 foxes, isn't it, a month? Just on my road into town or the city. 46. That's a lot of foxes, don't you think? Oh, we have to have... Oh, what's wrong with killing the occasional one then? What's right with it? It's the psychopaths. I just think... I mean, the worst thing is, of course, you've got Billy Bunter, the big fat bastards. And these are people who are magistrates, Crown Court judges, solicitors, the higher echelon in their read this, and you think, please just fall off the bloody horse and break your fucking neck. Please become a paraplegic. You know, this is what happened, I understand, to Superman. Well, he was fell off a horse. I wasn't sure if he was fox hunting or not, but you know, I wouldn't wish Superman or whatever his name was in real life any ill, but fox hunters, and these bastards are at the end of my field, behind my house, my field. You know, well, I call it my field. Part of Britain's land. It's on the green belt. And obviously the local farmers agreed that a bunch of twats can stand on a corner with shotguns. You know, why don't they turn the guns on themselves? Let's have a good bit of sport going on there. Oh no, they have to, you know, shoot pigeons, wood pigeons, by the hundred. Now, I don't, you know, I find that distasteful enough. But when I walk my dogs down the woods, I am sick and tired of stepping over dead pigeons. They don't even eat these wood pigeons, folks. They just kill them for sport. I think, you bastards, you know. And it's even worse. I was watching this Netflix series the other day called Ozark. Ozark, I think it is. It's quite good, I thought. It's very addictive. I have to binge watch such things, otherwise I forget about what I saw the other day. So I have to binge watch. But there was a series in there where this young man has never killed anything before, and they go into the woods, and they come up this beautiful in the spring. It's a start of the hunting season. It could be late summer, I don't know. And there was this beautiful male deer, a stag, I suppose you'd call them. And it was, these eyes of deer, they're enormous, like cow eyes. And the camera zoomed up on this beautiful creature walking through, minding his own business. Very majestic. And the young boy of about 14 holding a gun, lining this beautiful creature up. And I was thinking, oh, how awful. It'll be his first kill. Well, if you want to kill things, go and join the army. Go and get deployed and go and join the army and get hit to the front line in Afghanistan and Iraq and all the other places that Yanks and their guns go to. And go and shoot human beings if that's your thing. Because that deer never did nobody any harm, no how. And nor did the fox, and nor do the wood pigeons, and nor do anything. They have an absolute right to live their lives on this land unencumbered by us twats who've got nothing better to do than go and kill summit. Why don't they just turn the guns on one another? Why don't they play that? Let's see how brave these arseholes are. Let's just say, right, put you all in combats, you put a red badge on your arm and you put a blue one, and I'll give you 10 minutes to disappear, and then it's game on. And it's great sport, that is. Fuck off, I'm not doing that. Bloody get killed. You bunch of tosser cowards, aren't they? That's what they are. And I have no hesitation, face to face, telling them I think they're arseholes. They've got nothing more constructive to do than go out and kill something. Well, go and kill each other and do us all a favour, because the world needs less people like you on it. And if you're a hunter, you know, if you're one of these, I don't make any apology. I despise people who go out hunting of anything. I mean, me, I go fly fishing, I occasionally cull a trout. Because, well, I don't see fish as being sentient beings, quite frankly, because they've never had contact with humans. They're in the sea, okay? And they're cold-blooded. And fish eat fish, you know? And occasionally humans, it's very good for us to eat fish, providing they're not from America or irradiated waters like off the coast of Japan or the Pacific. And the only way I can get decent fish, fresh fish, is to catch it myself. And that's my dog snoring behind me, excuse me. Cavalier King Charleses do that. Anyway, she's flat out. But no, come on, killing anything. But I feel bad. But at least I'm going to sit there and, I've thanked it. Yes, thanked it for its sacrifice. And I've eaten it. Something's become of it. But I haven't just left it to rot. I haven't just got it mounted to see my first fish. There it is on the wall. Because, well, fish are fish, cold-blooded, you name it. It's a different game. But not when you're dealing with killing warm-blooded creatures like whales and dolphins. It's a different world, folks. So I can't be put in the same basket as them. But I don't get up in the morning and think, oh, great, it's not right. Oh, God, I've got to shoot a load of, And it's the same feeling I have with people who go badger baiting. And you think, why don't you just leave them alone? You must have such empty lives to go and want to dig out young badger cubs and kill them. Why can't you just find something, just for today? Don't go out on the badger dig, And I despair. I am, maybe I'm just a soft touch. But to see people out there shooting rabbits with air rifles, and they just, that's it. They look at it, yeah. If it's not dead, they'll wring its neck. You couldn't pay me. You could not pay me enough to get an animal that's squealing because it's injured and physically wring its neck. I can't. You take your money, just go. And I will do without the money because I don't want to. It's bad enough having shot it, but not to have killed it straight away. That's even worse. And the Queen of England has also been known on the Sandringham estate during the hunt to clip a rabbit. Yes, but it wasn't quite dead. And she was presented with it squealing or kicking around, and she finished it off, the old bird did. I bet she did. Off with its head, no, a quick twist, and that's her. Ah, such a loving lady she is. It just makes me throw up. And even them, you go on the Sandringham estate and they've got huge buildings with, you go in and they're circular, they're like a tube with a top on, like something of a fairy tale castle, but they're on the ground. And you go in and there's a deer hanging by its back legs vertically down into the floor where there's a big bucket underneath catching its dripping blood where they shot it. And it's just, they hang the deer so the meat becomes tender. And this is the royal family, yes, we're murderers in more ways than bloody one, it seems. They've always been psychopaths and murderers, haven't they? And the royal family we have in this country has absolutely no claim to the throne of Great Britain or England at all. Never mind the fact is they're a bunch of Germans, Saxon-Coburg Gothas. That even that, it should have been Mary Queen of Scots, truth be known. Well, come on, haven't we got better things to do? And I often think, well, maybe not. When you look at what's happening in America now, America is finished. You can write it off. Donald Trump's done his best, He has. You've got to feel sorry for the guy, really. He's trying to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, isn't he? It ain't going to happen. And it's just damage control because, a bit like Britain, there's more black coming in than being kept out, isn't there? I have to say that. And it is an invasion, and it's a total destruction. You see, you don't have to have a war. It can be a silent war on the borders, and that's what's happened to our... Do I have to point it out to you? But sadly, you see, when you're importing a lot of the Islamic faith, people coming into the countries, you're having to displace all those people who are used to being displaced, called Jews. And they're probably victim of having to be displaced several times. But it's as though it wasn't bad enough what Hitler did to the Jews. But now it's happening again to the Jews with the Muslim invasion. And the Muslims are absolutely blatant about it, aren't they? And now the applicants to get into Israel are getting higher and higher and higher and higher because, well, the Jews and the synagogues in Europe are under such attack by the invasion of the Muslims and the Islamic faith. The synagogues are getting wrecked. There's Jews say, "Go home, Jews." And there's no white areas. These are in London as well, by the way, and certain cities and towns in our country now where the whites just ain't welcome, and we do dick shit about it. Okay, well, we're multicultural. Because the government are complicit in this invasion, as is the churches and the charity commissions and all this. It's all Illuminati New World Order shit designed to bastardize and get rid of culture of a country. Because as long as you've got borders, language and culture in a country, you have a country. The moment you get rid of one of those three ingredients, essential ingredients, the cake that you're left with is not a country. It's all going to be one big homogenized happy bloody family. Well, to be honest with you, it's going to happen whether you want it or not, because it's out of our pay grade, folks, to do dick about it. And it's the same with Brexit. Look, that's just a small tip of the iceberg of how the general populace of the country just ain't going to be listened to. I mean, we think it's bad, us Brits. Oh, yes, poor little Britain. But what about this? But what about the Caucasians of Europe? Yes, the Caucasians, the white folk. Never mind the Jews, that's bad enough, them being displaced, but they've got a country to run to. Where can I, little Englander, run to when Britain or England is totally screwed? Where can I grab my family and say, let's run? We don't have a bolt hole. At least the Jews have Israel to go to. This is the problem, isn't it? Us English types, Scottish, Irish, Welsh types, I don't care. Us Great Britainers, we don't have a bolt hole to run off to when it gets too bad. And even the white folk in South Africa now, the brains of South Africa are the Caucasians. And they're leaving, they're being forced to leave, well, you can just kiss South Africa goodbye. Now you talk about IQ levels and things, some plenty of clever Muslims. Are there really? Well, let's look at the statistics. What about the Caucasian brain compared to the Negro? Shall we? Okay. It is well established in the scientific journals that the cleverest people on this planet are the Asians. Okay, mathematically, the Chinese, the Japanese, oh God, yes, absolutely. And then the next on the list are the white Caucasians. Yeah, it's very close second, by the way, and a couple of points in it. Okay, but fair's fair on the IQ tests. And the next ones are the ones that are really, really, really struggling. Are the Muslims and the Negroes. They're the top two bottom ones. Bottom two, if you like. And that's not me being horrible. That is provable. It's published in all the journals and universities recognise this. But the universities have had to drop their standards to accommodate. They're not taking enough blacks. They're not taking enough foreigners. Oh, good, we'll drop our standards so they can get into Yale and all the other shit, Cambridge, Oxford, yada, yada, yada. But why should we have to drop our standards to accommodate a substandard species? Because in human beings, you might be a human being, but there are species within the human genome. It's just like, there are fish, but there are different types of fish. There are fish that are very intelligent, and there are fish that are not so intelligent. Why would it be any different for humans? No, you have to look at the statistics, not as an individual, but white people are the inventors. We're the sharers, without white people. You see, but South Africa want Africa to be black. Well, that's just bloody marvellous then. Have it. Let's go. Let's do a mass exodus of white people out of South Africa, as happened in Rhodesia. And now look what happened to Rhodesia, for Christ's sake. What a joke. They all starved to death. They had to send them food supplies because they got rid of all the farmers, and exactly the same's happening in South Africa. They're getting rid of the whites. There is never, never, never a black-controlled country, a black person's controlled country, with black leadership, has ever prospered. They've always failed, always failed. They're incapable of running a bloody fish and chip shop, never mind a country. The corruption, it's been shown time and time again. These people are incapable of looking after themselves without screwing each other over and killing each other. And this is the way it is. And this is why they want part of the white people's success. And that's why they're flooding in, whether it be Muslims or the non-Caucasians. Yeah. And this is what's happening. We're being bastardized. But it is. The Negroes have come bottom internationally, worldwide, of the lowest scores in the IQ. There are one or two exceptions, one or two. But as a statistic, and that's where you have to look at it, you have to go with statistics. And there's the truth. This is the IQ test that is done internationally. And it's very fair. It's very scientific. And it's proven that people from ethnic origins such as Negroes and the Middle East are substandard mentally. There are exceptions. Martin Luther King was very bright, but he got out of it, didn't he? He was an American, for Christ's sake. He was born, this is the thing. He did well despite being black. But no, we're destined for failure, folks. But as I say, the Caucasians in 50 years' time, just 50 years in the United Kingdom, white people will be a minority endangered species. Just 50 years. Okay? That's all it's going to take. What's going to happen in 100 years then? Okay? We'll be lost our country. And governments and these churches are complicit in this. They are complicit. Make no bones about it. The government don't give a shit about the local population being white or black. They just want control. That's all. Power and control. And they don't want the clever people in the electorate being clever, because that means that the government will have to answer to the clever people or get rid of the clever people. But why can't we, us white honkies, have our own country and say, no black-skinned people, no. There we are. You cannot settle. Okay? Couples, if you want to get married and breed, you better have white children. Okay? You tell me why we can't. Why can't we? It's a big world. Why can't we have a country that was white and run by... Well, we used to have it. It was called Great Britain. And now look at it. With the influx of foreigners and coloured people. And that's not me being bloody racist. It's just a statistical observational fact, is that we've lost our country. That's all. Should turn my phone off, I apologise. We've lost our country, folks, and the sooner we realise it, the better. And maybe that's why, in closing, that's why when you look at America, who are witnessing the invasion of their borders on a daily basis, assisted by the charities, the church do-gooders, because every time they get an immigrant across the border, they guess what? They get carted off to the Catholic importers, yes, Catholic Church importers, who are getting on the equivalent of $600 per person they help as a charity. So the more they can get in, and there's boatloads of the border agencies turning up outside the church reception area saying, we got a load of another capturers here, we got a load of immigrants here, you, over to you. And they go straight to the front of the hospital queues, the dental queues, they get the teeth picks, the babies are going to be popping out like crazy, and bugger the American people in the queue. And it's the same in the UK, isn't it? Ex-NHS, I've seen the waiting lists, and I know for a fact that the maternity wards are chock-a-block of women popping out, baby after baby after. You again, Mrs. Begum. Oh, yes. Oh, nice to see you. You know, they're nice people. But they breathe, because the Ayatollah of Khomeini actually said on live TV in a debate when we were talking about immigration in the 70s and 80s. We don't need weapons to win this war, to take your country, Britain. We have the womb, and boy, has he been proven right. And yet, at the weekend, we're out there shooting foxes, shooting badgers, killing foxes. Oh yeah, we're watching the match. Oh yeah, babe, we're watching, hey honey, get in sand. As David Icke said, come on honey, quick, bring the cup of tea in the dinner room, we'll have it on our lap. We don't know if they're going to go for the car. Or Villa are playing tonight. I got to stay in, get the boys round. Yeah. While Rome burns. Well, this is why it saddens me that I have had probably a better existence in the United Kingdom than my children will have. And yet, what about my children's children? Well, it doesn't matter, I won't be here. How selfish of that of me. But at least I'm awake. But I am conscious that Britain, or white Caucasians in Britain, even the Christians, if you want to call them that, but let's just say white people, shall we? We can't run off to a country that is just for the whites, can we? Like the Jews can run off to Israel. Because we don't have an Israel to run to. Because we had that called Great Britain. And yet the government wrecked it. Quite deliberately. And we stood idly by and did nothing as Rome burnt our country. That Rome that burnt our country was the Vatican. The Catholic Church. Have a think about that before you say hello to the Popey Pope, the paedophilic Jesuit general. There has never been a service performed in the Vatican. Never. And when the bishops or their equivalent of get together and have these celebrations, they pray, and all the services in Latin, and it is all satanic. Salman Rushdie got hammered writing a book called Satanic Verses. It was just demystifying the Quran. And the Quran contradicts itself so many times. And there's several versions of the Quran. It's a screaming joke. Well, do I read the Beano, or am I going to read the Topper version, or I'm going to read the Morons version? And it depends how you interpret it. Well, no. Behead the non-believers. There you go. How do you interpret that? No, it's an absolute nonsense, isn't it? How can you possibly worship a religion or a person within the religion who marries a 6-year-old and consummates that marriage of the child is 9? Yes. I mean, the guy was a paedophile by any stretch of the imagination, but that's okay. Muhammad was not a paedophile. Yes, he was, but that's okay. And these are the people that have the temerity to throw gay people from tall buildings because they find it offensive. Well, I'm offended by the fact is that these people don't like going into church in our country and seeing a cross. And in fact, they go in there and they insist we are stupid Brits. If we're having visitors, Muslim visitors into a church, we have to cover the cross. How ridiculous is that? Lest it offends. This is how sick our society's got. And maybe the people in America who are watching all the soap shows and come on honey, he's going for the car and I'm watching the game and I'm having my buds, maybe they're just as sick of it as I am. And maybe they flung their hands up and thought, do you know what? Bugger it. There's sod all I can do about the whole affair. Because the governments and the churches and all the rest of the bastards, they're all on the take for the short-term gain. They evidently don't love their little children. It is seriously a case of suffer the little children. Just as black people in South Africa in the next 30 years will be knocking on our doors saying, can you send us some food please, because we've destroyed all the farms and killed all the farmers. They don't seem to learn exactly what happened in Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, when they did that the same and the whole bloody country starved. But no, Europe will send food packages to South Africa. It's nothing to do with the people in South Africa, this exodus. Is that the elites want South Africa for one reason. Rare earth minerals that are only available in South Africa. And without those rare earth minerals, you cannot produce steel. There's an ingredient needed to produce steel, and that ingredient is only sourced in South Africa. No other country in the world has that mineral available in sufficient quantities. And the same can be said for Iran and the Golan Heights. But South Africa's special. Forget the bloody diamonds. They want that rare earth mineral so they can produce steel, so they can produce armaments. And they're not even interested in whether white people are more clever than the black people. They're not. They want the land. Catch you tomorrow, folks. I've got a few doggies to put to bed since I'm on my own today. All the best. Catch you tomorrow. I hope you've done your IQ test or start preparing. I don't want to have to deport you.